Just a silly little video today, partially because my mouth is still a little sore, but partially because someone actually requested it. And frankly, if people are going to request things this easy to film, I am on it. So if you're new here, hello. But if you're not, you probably know I do multiple different crafts. Cross-stitch, knitting and crochet are very much my three main loves, but I'm also getting a lot better at sewing lately, and I enjoy the occasional stab at needle felting or sculpting with clay or resin art, etc, etc. And I had a question lately, basically asking how I managed to keep all these different kinds of active projects and the supplies I need for them organised. Basically, what's in my craft bag. So that's today's video. I know, it's thrilling stuff. Before we go any further, I do just want to say I'm not very organised at all from an external observer's point of view, and my crafting couch is usually a complete mess. But I thought about it a bit more beyond that, and you know, to be fair, I do have a pretty good bag system going on for my needs. Whether it's useful for anyone else, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. So some of those crafts I do are much more portable than others, mostly the first three, cross-stitch, knitting and crochet, and to be honest, that is a really huge part of why they're my favourites. I enjoy being able to move around and take my projects with me. I'll stitch downstairs on the couch or up here in the craft room. I'll knit on bus trips or in the car. I'll crochet an entire cardigan while we watch the whole extended Lord of the Rings trilogy if you let me. When we went on a road trip across the US in 2015, half my suitcase was full of yarn. And when we went cruising around Greece last year, I of course took my sea-themed cross-stitch. But as you may also know, I'm very frugal. I think some might go so far as to say cheap. So a lot of advice for keeping multiple projects or travel bags organised just kind of doesn't apply. I'm not going to go out and buy a separate pair of scissors for every project bag, for example. I have one of everything and that is just going to have to do. Let me introduce you to my 3-bag setup. This small drawstring bag was one of my very first ever proper sewing projects, and it was made actually with the leftover fabric from my first ever proper sewing project, this awesome cactus dress. I just think it's the cutest thing ever. It's the perfect size to hold a sock or other small project. I can just carry it around the house or around a friend's house when I'm over visiting and I don't want to put my knitting down. I've even been known to hang it off my wrist and very carefully, very slowly, get some knitting done while I'm out walking. Then we have this much bigger and sturdier project bag, which was actually a birthday gift from a Reddit gift exchange a few years back. As well as being a good size and self-supporting, and purple is always good. It has so many pockets, both inside and outside, and it can hold an absolute ton of stuff when it's fully packed. You can zip it shut, and it even comes with these holes for feeding yarn through if you're into that sort of thing. And then finally, I have just my normal backpack, which has seen me through about a decade so far of trips and university and just life in general. Again, lots of pockets, but I do have to be careful what I put inside because horror of all horrors, Velcro. The beauty of the small drawstring bag is that it can easily fit inside either of my other two, so I can pack for a longer trip, but then at yon end, I'll just lift this out and continue knitting from it the same way I would at home. The beauty of the bigger bags is obviously yes, I can hold bigger yarny projects, but also they're both really great for holding cross-stitch project bags without anything getting crumpled. I wonder how many cross-stitch projects I could fit in this one. Let's just say it's a lot. But like we said, I tend to only own one of each type of notion or accessory, with a few exceptions like the ever-growing needle-minder collection, but which cross-stitcher doesn't have an ever-growing needle-minder collection? So my solution is to keep all of the stuff that applies to multiple crafts together in a separate zip bag. It fits inside even the smallest of my main 3 bags, so now my whole setup becomes modular. Sticking this in the car to keep me company, taking this to a hotel, or this one camping. Throw the zip bag in there and I have everything I could possibly need. This is just literally the cheapest little pencil case I could find, and it's certainly not pretty, but it works brilliantly. In here I can fit my scissors. Always relevant no matter the craft. Tape measure. This pink thing is an emergency sewing kit with your basic needles, thread, even some snap buttons for quick repairs. Oh, and also scissors, so I guess I do own 2 pairs after all. A seam ripper, which is useful in all sorts of situations. Tapestry needle. A few stitch markers. A nail file, not so much a craft thing, but I am a lifelong nail biter trying my best to stop, so I need to always have these handy in case of snags or rough bits. And last but very much not least, a range of hair clips and pins, which, yes, these are useful in case I need to pin up my hair, but more importantly, they serve a dual purpose as craft aids. These clips are great for holding yarn secure when I'm flinging the bag around so nothing gets tangled or slips off the needles. These U-pins, as well as being the only thing invented that can hold hair as fine as mine, make for excellent stitch holders or cable needles, or I even used one as an emergency laying tool for an especially finicky cross-stitch one time. I'll also often stick my noise-cancelling earbuds in here, mostly because I'm scared of losing them, but I always know where the zip bag is, so putting them in here keeps them safe. All I have to do before any given trip is A, make sure my scissors are actually in here because I do have a habit of leaving them out, and then B, throw it into whichever bag is coming with. Job done? Don't need to think about it. Of course, being someone who makes videos about crafts instead of just doing the crafts sometimes means I need to pack a bit extra. Generally, if we're going away on a longer trip where I might be filming, I'll rely on the purple craft bag, and my backpack will actually become my tech bag. I have a nice, secure Tupperware box for my camera and mic, spare SD cards, and also emergency business cards, because you never know. And I recently invested in a second tripod that collapses much more compactly than my usual one, so that can sit in a side pocket quite nicely. Once I've added the Travel Essentials Steam Deck, this just about leaves room for a change of outfit and maybe a couple of spare pairs of knickers. Because I totally have my packing priorities in order on holiday. In the big craft bag, I'll often carry a few other nice-to-haves. For example, this pocket at the side is perfect for a notebook where I can do gauge maths or remind myself where exactly I was up to or how I deviated from a pattern. Because, yeah, I always deviate from the pattern. My incredibly cheap and basic roll of crochet hooks unfurls and sits nicely in the other side, and those often come in handy for other stuff even if I'm not actually crocheting. This zip pocket on the front here actually has a waterproof plastic pouch, which is great for those rare occasions when I do have a printed out pattern or, I guess, a vaccination card and some contact lenses. So yeah, pretty simple. Which bag makes sense for where we're going? Throw it in my project, throw it in my notions bag, bam, we are done. But if I'm just crafting around the house as per normal, well, that crafting bag just happens to sit nice and neatly in this gap by my crafting corner in the living room, and this one can hide inside it on the rare occasion we have actual visitors round and I need to tidy up. I don't think anything about my setup is really earth-shattering here, but it does work really well for me, and it means I can go from chaotic crafting couch to ready for a road trip in about 30 seconds flat, because I know what I need, I know what goes where, and I know which bag is for what. If anyone out there has tips for taking this mobile modular setup to the next level, I am all ears. There's nothing I like more than constantly rejigging my existing systems for no reason at all, and I think you probably know I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that. Thank you, as always, to my Ko-fi supporters for helping to keep this channel going, and especially to my lovely Stitch Squad, who should definitely keep an eye out for this week's bonus video, because no promises, there may be a free pizza in it for you. Mary Ann Johnson, Sunny, Candy Riley Pettinger, Laura Salets, Enlightened Flamingo, Cross Stitch the Globe, I'd Rather Be Stitching, Angela Sue Harrison, Emily Hobbs, Maria Midnight Crafting, Lee the Cozy Crafter, and Asta Vinka, whose name I have probably just butchered. I'll be back soon with some more crafty nonsense, so in the meantime, have a brilliant rest of your day and keep making cool stuff.